Hello all. This is the continuation of the video that we were working on, which is the Father. There is only one Father. The title of the video is There is Only One Father. So this is the continuation of the video, which ended halfway, and I didn't get to continue it. So that continues with this. And we ended with at the point where I was trying to explain how we get to enable low self-esteem of us, the negative side of, instead trying to seek the positive side of us, because there is a two that exists even of our being and the unfairness that we're trying to heal. And that trying to heal, we have a one goal, which is peace that have no storm. We are seeking, and this journey to peace that have no storm, which is Father, could be traveled in two ways, negative and positive. If you go the right way, if you travel this road, the right energy, the positive energy, you'll be fine. But if you travel the road with a negative energy, you may have some complications even if you get there. And before getting there, you have another complication, and that you have to start healing to get back there. So you have a lot to deal with in order to get back to Father, which is what we are trying to heal from. And that will begin to see every other existence of higher beings that we call Father, greater than our Mother Earth, only a representation of Father, according to what we are missing, or lacking, or in need of, to complete that of one. If we're traveling the road back to peace that have no storm, which is the Father, the true Father, the one and only Father, the stability of us that have no storm, the one that is of greatest authority and of the most of all bearings. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Of all existence that we have known, this one is the greatest of all of it, of caring, nurturing, bearing, and all those are the mother side of the Father. So the Father is a whole. It has a two. Like I was saying, the man and the woman trying to fulfill of their mind, their whole of a female mind trying to enable the completion of themselves, of receiving the male side, which they're lacking, which is authority. And caring together makes the humanity, the caring authority we almost have. The Father have both of caring authority, the greatest, the most. And this only comes with positive, with no negative in it. Meaning that no storm, but only peace is possible to make this be of 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 being. The only way a father can be father is by being able to be positive alone, which is positive plus positive, meaning the fulfillment and completion of the male side and the female side, where there is no lacking. The male side lacks no need, the female side have no need, makes them a whole. So it's like a humanity together, a one that is powerful. Like double bond, it's hard to break a double bond, right? So you can break one stick, but you can break two, it's harder, it's difficult. So this is Father that we all seek, of all planets and existence of beings, those that we don't even know, that we're getting to still know that exists. Some are like, no, that's not real, that's not real. At the end of the road, I'm sorry how we get to really struggle like this is because we've been calling others not being, thinking only some are capable of being a being. It's like belittling others of not being an existence. Like of the humans, we have the innate and the living, and then when we consider the innate not living, we again, after going to school and educating ourselves to see that, hey, the earth breathes. Like we see the earth plant, the earth birds, plants, and all that. So it's living. The stones also breathe. They break, they erode and form, And today, this stone was small. Tomorrow is in a different shape. You're like, okay, so are you growing? Are you becoming, So we all have a transformation, but a transformation should be of what? That even when you are of disorientation, of lacking, your growth is a complicated disability that you're seeking for the healing, and that you being of a disabled does not make you forgotten or make you unfit to get back to the whole of a glass that was whole. If broken into pieces, is like a growth, but in the negative side of growth, that when it gets to a broken state and into many pieces, it's like it's unstable ground. But we know that's not a stable ground because it's in pieces and it's complicated. And now we think it's comfort to be of a positive and a negative, of being able to see that this was a glass, but even though broken, but we can see that it's a glass. So being able to have a memory that it's a glass, but it in a broken form, it's like stability, and we don't need to put it back again together. So because it's gonna still fall apart, but this is not what it is. We have to get back to the whole, because even being disabled, we are of low self-esteem, and the low self-esteem comes is to a point where we begin to think low self-esteem is normal, but it only grows. It's a seed, and it's only growing. That a glass is not even able to really explain what the mind is struggling with. That even when the mind is broken and fallen into pieces, we see that, hey, we begin to find the answer of that. When there's a negative, we try to put positive, and we see that it's never stable until we are able to find a ground of positive, that we're able to maintain peace. Then when I say hello, you're able to say hello back to me and not instead curse me, and I get disrupted. So the pieces are only being disrupted. And then, like we've learned in physics, that positive and negative attract. And then you feel like, okay, that's where the balance is coming from. But now we see that they attracting is collision. Is collision, and the more there are many of them, the more they multiply. They begin to collide each other. They begin to collide, and negative and negative repel. And so when we begin to see all that, the thing is, when we sort out a new diagnosis or a problem, we have to try to enable to get to the end of it, to able to find an outcome, to enable an outcome before we even start working with it. We have to be able to find the end goal. Like, what is the end goal of this? If we want to heal it with if we want to put water on a thirsty ground, what is the outcome? What is the end goal going to look like? If we want to keep the child from eating, what is going to be the end goal? What is it going to be? Like, we have to be able to trace an end goal, and not just only by one, but all of us sitting down. That's why I say we need a table talk. We need to all sit down from every angle that we have made our zones. We have to be able to come out with this one unity of us that we all know, which is peace that we are seeking. No matter how we are seeking this peace, our diversities of how we are seeking this peace could be different, but we know that peace is what we are seeking. A place where you are comfortable, and it must be of mutuality, because of the other thinking that they are comfortable standing on the other, is the other only keep on scratching or hurting them. So at the end, we are trying to enable peace. And then if this one is scratching, when they're trying to enable them to see peace, like one that is in the dark of stumbling, they're trying to get them to light, and they're feeling it like a disability and discomfort. We know the outcome, the end goal is what we look, and we bring it out to this one to be able to see the both sides of their end goals, of the negative side and the positive side of, even though both of them are affecting this one. What do you realize of your end goal, so that you can be able to comply to the right, even though both may be hurting, but you see that the other one that starts hurting gets better. Getting to the light gradually gets better. But staying in the dark too long only becomes a stumbling ground, hurting, cuts, and then infection, and then before you know it, they have to oh, we all know where I'm going to. I don't want to mention so much about the negativity, because this is like a motivational video. The little we can mention about the negative is enough. The drop we don't want to go too much into the ocean, for we already know our oceans, and some feeling condemned, but at least being able to see the little seed, the little drop of that ocean. You can work with everything. You can be able to work gradually until you complete, because the key is in all cells. The mitochondria is the energy source of a cell, and our bodies are made out of cell, the physical of us. I'm trying to make sure our atheists and we all are able to relate with these videos that I'm trying to enable. We all can get something from there, be it of agreement or disagreement. I'm very willing to hear from every single one of us, no one left out. That even if one that is feeling like they're not existing, know that I'm talking of even of those who think they're not existing, being the simplicity of them growing, of like a seed hidden in the ground, looks like it's not existing until it comes out, and it's like, oh, I'm on the other side. I didn't know that I could come out to the other side. I see the others, their roots down there, but I don't see. I didn't know that they had a whole body. So at the end of the day, we know what I'm talking about. Now, wherever simplicity of whatever simple being you are, of the physical, the simplest of you, like they say, of the cell is the simplest the atom is the simplest of the cell. So we begin, the cell is the simplest unit of an organism. Sorry, I'm now mixing up atom and chem. But well, we all have studied. I'm trying to, the school is beautiful. Of what you learn is not only to have a career, but to be able to get to a self of being, that we are not lacking we're not lacking of health. Having wealth with a career, you should have health of the spirit. Our minds to fit right. The moral side of us is of both the mind and the physical. So we have to be able to fit both. That school is fitting both, but you need to see that and then grow. When we come out growing only one, which is only the wealth, we lose. Wealth is beautiful, but now we have to be able to have the health with it. That's the great foundation we have to be to enable. So with this video of the feeling of low self-esteem, coming from negative and positive, feeling like this is what we are supposed to be, like of the Chinese, we know of the yin and the yang, which is a cold and hot. We try to balance it up with it being like warm. We're looking for the balance of both, have some said. And even the Christianity have said, spare not the rod, spare not the rod and spoil the child, meaning affliction can enable a child get better. So all that we've enabled. Now even physics, like I said, of positive and negative attract, meaning that positive. So we have in this negative side. We're trying to build a covering. We're trying to build a comfort zone in it, which is impossible. It looks like a comfort zone, but it's not, because it's only still growing to the point where we're going to see that it's not it's not getting to the main goal, which is peace that have no storm. That we would think storm and peace is okay, but yet we don't want the ocean to come to our houses, but we keep building the houses, telling us that negative and positive can never be together, but only a disorientation, and with time, disruption becomes now like an anger, and then the anger now becomes now like a problem because we cannot solve that. So it tells us that a positive and negative that attracts is not the main solution. It's a solution, but not the main solution. We haven't reached the goal. So there will always be another problem to solve, another problem to solve. The only possibility of being together is only of a positive and a positive, which is of a low self-esteem of the female side that we pulled it out from, of a woman being of a step behind of a man because of emotions, and could lead to low self-esteem, or feeling less than the other. And this low self-esteem can keep you out of your self-worth, and that you have to look at a man to be able to receive from them the self what of self-control, of returning back to the being that you're supposed to be, needs power. You need to embrace power of best, but carefully, because on the male side we have power. Power is great and dominant, can generate into aggressiveness, of abnormal aggressiveness, because I learned from googling that aggressiveness does not only mean being harsh. It also means taking taken by force, like taken by force what you know you're lacking, and then and then more than how you're supposed to take it. Like if you're thirsty, when you see water, you want to drink it, so you want to drink it like with all of you. It's like you know what it's like when you're so thirsty coming from a desert and seeing water. It's like drinking it like it's your all and life, and that's like aggressively, but it's a positive aggressiveness. It's how I came to understand what the explanation was trying to tell us. So aggressiveness does not only mean negative; it's also positive. So of every being, there's a positive. Every existence of every word, there's a positive that we have to hold on to. So we can always flip the coin. No matter, so you should know that no matter how bad you may think you are, you can always flip the coin to the good that you have to be able to be. That if the cup is halfway full, is halfway empty, you want it, halfway full, so that you can get full. So we are not trying to go halfway empty, but halfway full. So when we say halfway full, we feel motivated to refill. So we try to refill of positivity that we're seeking. Peace that have no storm should be our origin, our start. If we don't know our end goal from the beginning of where we are now, then we are still aiming halfway. We are not going to be complete. We can't meet the Father. The Father of us is the greatest of us all beings of the earth, planets, galaxies, and all existence. It's where we are aiming to, and that is of the mind. That of every image is a mind. Every image have a mind. That even when we put the computer together, there are minds that put up the computer together, and those minds, that's their own planet. A computer now becomes like a planet of many minds. The minds now have their planet. How about that? The computer is a new planet. We could say that a computer, Jupiter, computer, Earth. So now we begin to see that, but computer is in the Earth, so we won't call it a planet. We call only those that are like Earth, like separate and in the space and galaxy. And it's what we will say. But when we look at it, we see that, hey, okay, now this is a new being. We could say it's a new being of the earth. The earth has a new being called computer. We all make different beings of the physical, and then now we begin to see some supernatural, like where some would think that the earth is of two. If there's mother earth, there's father earth. You wouldn't blame them, because where do our ancestors go to? Where do we come from? If the physical has a lifespan of less than even 100 years, I think very short lifespan. So we are trying to see that, okay, the mind is greater than that. That even those that are out of sight of the physical, we still have them present of the mind, of what they've left behind. And it's the mind. The mind is powerful. So at the end, it's the mind that is closest to the Father. Of all the minds coming together to be one, of peace that have no storm, is our closest to the Father. The one that was able to make the mind have a mind, and the mind is, so at the end we all relate with the mind. Is the spirituality of us that we have to start with. Of all the images that we call the spirit, we need to know the true spirit is the mind. That of all these images are minds. But now we are looking for our stability, which is peace that have no storm. I pray we understand where I'm going to concerning Father, the most stable ground of us, that of all in our low self-esteem have been able to enable some some comfort zones of we can make positive and negative work because we feel like we are falling short. So the memory of the shortness will always be there, even if we get better, meaning that we should just learn to deal with it. And no, 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 the sickness is not us. You consider among the fallen nature of us, the sickness, which is only a part, only a only uh, uh, only a it's not a being. I don't want to say a being. I will say a character in a disorientation of a being. It's a disorientation. I don't want to say a disorientation is a being, because we correct it back. It's only flipped, so we need to turn it back right. And that is of us, the piece of us that is disorientated. We need to turn it back right, and turning it back right is only by a means of peace, and not affliction, because only positive and positive can make the true positive that we seek, the end goal of peace that have no storm. So I am pleading that understanding that getting to this end goal is power. We see that it has to do with power and caring and all of the greatest of greatest that we can achieve, and only takes practice to get there. And so step by step, it's a journey back to the ability of being peace that have no storm. That if we say it's possible for us to fall back again, well, it's not supposed to be of once bitten twice shy. Like I say, that it's out of experience that you learn, and that if we have fallen, it's not because we're supposed to fall, but even after falling, we should be able to return back right. That is a mistake that we fell. We learn the lessons and return. We should not say, we were supposed to fall. We were not supposed to fall, but being able to fall is to just tell us that we have less experience compared to the Father. The Father has more experience, and this is how I came about with the should I say a quote? Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it already exists out there, but it just came up. I didn't get it from anywhere, but it just came up to me that power comes with experience, and this is from experience that I've had, that I'm able to say that power comes from experience, and meaning that the Father have more experience than all its creations. So even of us, the humans, that are of less experience than those of the spirit of the other images that we don't know, like the primitive, see the civilized, of like of more power because of their experience of where they've gone to, of those that have, of the civilized ones of going away, have forgotten some things that on coming back is like new to them, and it's like the others are also of Father. So it's like they all share Father, but now when we begin to realize, we begin to relate them with of of the origin of us, we start seeing that okay, the origin should be those that we call primitive, because civilization comes out of primitivity. So we begin to see that okay, are we going to say that we have more knowledge than Father? But to see that where we come from, the Father already made knows everything. Of our physical being is so limited to express what the mind is able to be or perceive or have been. Like even of the glass that falls is very limited to express who we are. Like also we are also very limited to express what the mind is capable of. That when we are able to do some things, we are like, whoa, we didn't know we could fly the sky. We didn't know we could do all that. And that's the mind. That when the flesh goes back to its origin, the mind is still alive. And some believe the mind continues. Some atheists will say no, the mind ends here in the physical, and that's it. And then they now keep with whatever the mind is able to leave behind is what we grow with. So is the mind still being here? That if you left behind that drink water when you're thirsty, It's a good thing, and so you drink water when you're thirsty. So that's a good mind, and that's the mind that we know of Mr. Drinking Water. And so when Mr. Drinking Water flesh returns back to origin, we still have Mr. Drinking Water. By when we drink water, the memory of him is still with us. It's an image, and of his mind of is still with us. So this will go of history, like we've seen of many names and famous of us that have been of history and ancestries. So this is all how we relate at the end of the day is peace that have no storm we seek, and that is Father. I pray we understand how the earth is missing to express Father, because not because there's not Father, the Father characteristics are there, but in respect of the fact that there is Father, and Father is the overall of us, all beings of planets and all that. So I really respect the fact that we call our earth Mother Earth and call its nature Mother Nature, is to show that we are limited. We are still experiencing to get to the place where we are much more better, should be better in peace that have no storm and not the negative side of us. That when we see the negative, we try to heal from it before it gets too complicated. Of the complication now the seed has become a tree, we need to heal from. I plead. So now that we understand our aiming, which is returning back to our origin, which is of Father, we know that we will never replace Father because Father made us all. We can only get to a place where we all relate like one to Father. Of like I said, the female have all characteristics of a male, but the only difference is that the female is have the emotional side, which makes them one step behind the male. Therefore, we can only reach to the place where we are all of same characteristic of the Father of peace that have no storm, the true origin of us, but limited of experience because Father made us so must have had more experience than we all. So that will be the difference between Father and us. I hope you understand what the difference, why we all will still be called mother and father. But mother does not mean that we don't have the characteristics of the Father. We have the characteristics of the Father, but just lower than the Father because of experience. Experience comes, and power comes with experience. So Father is more power. So power is always the reason why we see the other greater than the other. Power, authority, dominance. So Father dominates us all, and that's Father, and there's only one Father. Please, royalties. Of those that have represented Father, those that call themselves Father, we've known of the patriarchal, the patriarch, patriarch, the patriarch, the patriarchal side of us, and the patriarchal side of us, and the matriarchal side of us. I'm sorry of my accent. At least I'm trying. And English is a beautiful language, and every other language too. We try to communicate with the most popular languages, which is great. And hopefully we do understand the video that I'm trying to enable us to get to understand of motivation and inspiration, of not limiting ourselves and not being of low self-esteem, but keep on motivating each other that we can be, no matter the differences and diversities of us, we are able to see the peace in us that we are, healing all the differences that we have made. That being able to know the diversity side of us is to enable healing. That if the differences is that which is causing pain onto the other, it's the matter of coming together and have a table talk. Let's talk about it. Communication is the greatest, we have said, and not any kind of communication. Therapeutic communication is what I learned in school, trying to pursue nursing. And I tell you, it's amazing how even of other trades in school, and you will learn words that when you bring them out, it's all the same with what I've learned from through nursing. It's a communication class. Everyone takes it, and we understand of interpersonal communication, which is all about how we communicate. And so therapeutic communication is what we seek, and how we try to be able to get to each other. One of us may say, it's the way that they bring the message to me. They should have brought it in a better way. But now, yes, we've seen their own mistake. But now let's be able to also see our also shortcoming of low self-esteem, which is how we receive the message will matter. How we receive the message will matter. That even if it's a fire that is given, what do? We try to use it to warm up ourselves, make food. How we use the fire will matter, not to take and be, if they were using it to destroy, we use it to build. But now our existence on in this earth, existence on this earth affects the earth, and telling us the flesh part returns to its origin. Should we keep on burning to fill the earth, our mother earth, seeing that the father side and the mother side of the earth is not collaborating because of the beings in there, and we of higher beings should be able to sit back and be like, hey, we are the oldest in the house, the senior the senior siblings, so the younger siblings are depending on us. So how do we enable this? That even of some siblings, some younger siblings are so taller than the older siblings. We have seen of our own makings of physical births that even though the younger one could look taller than the older sibling, does not take respect away from the older one because his experience and his power. So, but how do you approach it? Should not be of aggressiveness. Power, the male side, should not be of the abnormal aggressiveness, but of positive, of standing your ground, but with caring. Now you have to have your completion of humanity. The fair earth that we seek starts with us, the being of self, of the mind being the first earth, of its own complications in there, of so many words being the beings that the head, mind has made. Some words we have made negative, positive words. Some negative words are like, I can't even leave my head anymore. But I tell you, it looks like it can leave, but step by step it can. Just have the goal, be the peace in the storm is what I tell my my young ones that I take care of, my children. I tell them, be the peace in the storm. Try to be the peace in the storm. That even when you're trying to think right, it's only going on the terrible video. Maybe you watch the scary movie and you're trying to not keep it in your mind. It's only being there, like you're trying to you we all must have experienced that, which we don't want to remember. It only keeps coming. It's like, how can I control my mind? This is my mind. Can I have my mind for myself alone? Whoever is in there and all that. But whatever we put in the mind is like what we put in the computer. We build, we build, we build. Some others will force you to be able to receive those in your mind, and then contamination. So what do we do about this when we have seen that we all are a distraction to each other, are in a fallen state and disorientation? It's not by enabling another glass to break again. How many glasses, how many generations have we had? The first glass got broken. We have not even fixed that glass yet. Another glass is broken. And how many generations have this earth had of 4.5 numbers of years, of billions of years? We begin to see all the. So when we begin to see, we're like, hey, where is this taking us to? Is the solution that we're seeking of the goal of peace that have no storm. We have to start from somewhere. Even if you are in the ocean, to return back to the drop, you can by, if it's a bucket of water, a drop out. I tell you, it's like it will never go anywhere. But I tell you the truth, how far you go, it's an ability and an inability, knowing that even on the 3 grain of rice, having 10 is like, whoa, I have rice. Even though your aim is having a cup of rice. That I said in first video that in my earliest videos that I became a vegan after being able to be of a being that feeds from all that I learned growing up. I came to a place where, hey, alarm in my mind, like, hey, why am I a human being? Why am I even here? Some get into this place get rid of themselves because they can't stand what they've gone through. But we all now become the grace for them by being able to live right, so that it gives them grace of not complying with what it is that was not right, but correcting it is like making the mistakes a lesson and a blessing. So it blesses them back. Let's try to be able to see this and not condemn those, but see that, hey, when you're in a fallen state, you face negatives, and we all can heal together. That my lacking, I can see it in you, and your lacking, you can see it in me, and that this one that has left the world mistakenly the way that it's not supposed to, they are not supposed to, they can refill that side from you being able to do this the right way. Please, we all drops of water is water. We all heal each other. I plead that when you're able to enable any motivation or any positivity in this affair that we have here of disability and unfairness, is worth, even a grain is worth it. That even if it is your last day on your bed that your flesh have to part, that only being able to smile at someone, like be blessed and take care of yourself, is a lot of work done. Even though you feel like you wasted your life, but that drop of water for the quench of that thirst is what it at least. Let's see that worth of it. Please, to not feel condemned and feel like you have to leave this world without owing anyone anything. We all owe each other. We can never part from each other. Never. We are a human. We are humanity. We cannot part from each other. We cannot. Even when we say, I am not part of you, we know we are only just being a blindfold. Enabling a blindfold, which we have to correct. We don't want to keep bombarding on each other, saying that I don't care and all that. Is just being in the dark, and the things I face in the dark, we all have faced dark in our own way, fallen short in our own way, disability in our own ways. Some greater than others, still disability. Like what a baby will carry of a little gallon will be like, and you will be like, give me that thing, and it's just like your pinky holding on it. It's like, okay, okay, dada, okay, mama, and they're like, how did they? To them is miracle. How did you carry that with just a finger? When I struggle with it with my hand and legs, and you know what I mean. So at the end of the day, we all have our struggles. That we pray that when you see your dada or mama or dad carrying something so heavy, and it's like, I will never carry that until I become like them. So, but will you be limited? No, you'll be preparing yourself to get there by practicing to carry the little ones that you can of best. Practicing only of peace that have no storm. That when you're in a place of more storm, you know that you're like a little one, but you have to keep practicing the good, and then you'll get there. Every seed grows. A healing of the negative side is the growing of the positive side, is what we are seeking. I plead, and not condemning each other. That I've come to a place of this one was terrible, that one was terrible, and then we begin to see like, whoa. But their healing is gonna be exceptional. Because when someone is fallen all the way deep down and able to come out, it's exceptional. It's exceptional. Okay? If someone is so sick, like the most sick of us all, gets healed, man, that will be a celebration that, whoa, never ending celebration. I pray we know where we are getting this to. Of those that are of so much pain, and the most drunk that is uncommon. That is like, will that one ever wake up? I'm not sure. He drank too much. The way he is right now, he's just not even responding. We know we are internal beings when it comes to the mind. We heal, but our pleading is when this one returns, they shouldn't start drinking again, and that will be up to us. Because if this one gets to start drinking again, then hey, we haven't done our job well, which would mean that we have work to do. And this is the meaning of being tipsy, we are healing, and being able to drive them out of the bar. That being in coma state is like so possible to just carry like a baby and drive home. But now of self, we all are self-worth. And you know, how do you do this? The only possibility to do this is by being the peace in the storm. By being the peace in the storm. Until you get to that place of best. It's not easy. Sometimes we make mistakes, but we know the goal. We have to know the end goal and keep to it so we don't forget and get losing ourselves for too long. That when you have it in your hand, you remember. You remember. Hold it in your hand and say, hey, my goal is peace that have no storm. We can reach that. We don't have to be a positive and a negative, but the peace that have no storm. Have we learned that, punishing someone is not the solution? Can only get them to a place of quietness, but what they're generating we don't see is low self-esteem, another negative to deal with. So we want, if possible, to just deal with it for once and for all, which is only by peace, still in the storm. We being the peace and still in the storm, we give them peace. Another storm left behind. Then when we get to the other side, we're still peace. And then become a role model. Let us be the role model. I completely understand the video on Father that we had to work on, because the last video was on Mother Earth and we didn't see the Father side of it and why. Now we at least have an idea of how I consider our being and why we seek for peace and the need to seek for peace the one way, which is very exceptional and may sound silly, but when you sit back and think about it, it's the only way. And the why disorientation of us, we enable peace to still some storms that have been stopping us from being able to build a worthy foundation or continuing our work of sitting back and trying to figure out before we continue of the end goal. How can we achieve this when everything's only negative and positive? How can we really get to positive, which seems like negative can never stop, can only be, and it's like it's part of us. But no, peace. We know that peace was before storm, because there's no way destruction could be the same time with construction. It's not possible. Construction won't last. Both of them starting to go together, it's not possible. It's not possible. Construction would not be, or be stronger. Even if they were twin, then construction should be stronger. Because affliction hurts. Fire and water is stronger. If the two of them are together, that if they have to be working together, possibly, if you see fire, like fire, like in Jamaica, I saw fire on water. Water is stronger. If both of them can exist together, it means water is stronger. Now, when we see water evaporates by fire, it's just a little bit of it. Now, unable to see its whole, we see the disability of both, on the unfairness. Sometimes fire being unfair and water being unfair. But when we get to the whole, we see that, hey, water is stronger. And now we look for the positive side of water and the positive side of fire. It shouldn't hurt. It should be only peace that have no storm. That you can walk through fire. But are we going to do this with our flesh? No, we know of the human mind. Fire burns. We use them accordingly. So we learn the properties of the physical. We use it right. So we are able to follow policies, follow instructions. When we follow instructions, it gives us a guide of returning back in peace and not of stubbornness, which can generate another fall. We want to return back in peace, following the order of peace, which is only seeking for humble pride, mutuality, less harm to zero, gracefully getting there. Of now, we are becoming more vegan, trying to reduce from eating animals which have blood. They have blood like us, at least stopping from that. And then we know plants, when the flesh part, we stop eating from plants. and we become, um, well, to some non-existent, or to other spiritual beings of higher, not lesser. For we know that of humans are higher beings here, meaning that we can only be of higher beings of self better when we get out, and not of lower. Let's please that if we've gotten to the place of becoming lower, we should be seeking to get better back. Of the complications, we should be trying to get back right. I plead for the things that we have enabled out of low self-esteem and arrogant pride, all the same. Sometimes we think arrogant pride is different from low self-esteem, but it's all the same. But it's just of the male and the female of our unable to identify ourselves again of who we are. We are the beings, the higher beings of the mind. We are seeking back peace that have no storm, of the mind battlefield. Stay blessed, royalties. For this is what I have to offer concerning our Father. Hopefully, our next video will be on spirituality. So we are getting to understand more of who we are, not only of the physical, but of the mind. Like I said, the basics is where we start of spirituality, which is the mind of the physical that we are, advancing to what others have been able to enable. Of all other images that we know have a mind. And so the mind, the smallest mind of all these minds, is that of the physical of our earth that we know, that we have experience of. That's where we start. The unit, the basic unit of us is where we are, the physical. Does not condemn the others. They have their own reasoning of the basic, and they are able to trace their own basic, and we all relate with our basics. When we talk about basic, we all relate with basic units. When it comes to peace that have no storm, we all relate, and that's what unifies us. Of every disorientation that we have of different kinds, differences that we correct our, we enable our unifying, which is the goal that we seek, the end goal of peace that have no storm, to be able to take this peace and return back and correct back our storms of our own various zones. I pray we understand the purpose of being peace that have no storm, of being able to have mutual relationship, understanding of each other's own realm, and keeping our own of step by step, of understanding that the other is not a disease, the other is not a different, but one that is sick, having their own disorientation, their own disability. Let's begin to see others' disability, not them, but a form that is affecting them that needs to be corrected back to the right form, a deformity that needs to be returned back to the right form. Okay, royalties, stay blessed. Appreciate us all of being, returning back to peace that have no storm we seek of the mind. Stay blessed. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you.